Hi friends, this is Jack Gill, President of Vision Wholesale Club. And today, I'm going to ask you to take 10 minutes out of your day. These will be the most important 10 minutes you're going to have today in the office, I promise. And what we're going to discuss is Vision Wholesale Club. And really the story starts 5 years ago when myself and a partner, an ECP, very successful out of Indianapolis, created Vision Wholesale Club. And it was created, as you see here, to provide you, the ECP, better margins on your lenses and affordable eyeglasses. That this is our number one mission. And it's number one because of the changes that we're seeing out here in the optical world. And I call it the 10% factor. You may ask, well, what is the 10% factor? The 10% factor is this. It's Glasses USA. It's these large companies that are out there competing against you in the online world. And you may think that they're small, but do you know that many of these are owned by some of the biggest brand names in the country, Essilor, Luxottica, to name a few? And they're out doing one thing. They're taking 10% of the eyeglass market, the majority of it in single vision sales. They're your number one competitor out there. And the biggest one that I see, the one that scares me the most, is Warby Parker. And you say, Warby Parker, why should I care? Well, I'll tell you why you should care. Warby Parker was started 5 years ago, about the same time that Vision Wholesale Club came on board. In 2011, they raised $12.5 million in capital. 2012, another $37 million. And today, selling almost 1 million pairs of single vision lenses. They're valued at $1.2 billion. And how are they doing it? Well, I just showed you how. They're selling single vision, $95 frame and lens complete with AR. RX Suns at $150. So what does this do to you? Well, because of insurance markup, you really can't compete against these guys. That you've got to mark up your product 2.6 to 3.0. You're marking up so that when that insurance patient walks in your door, that you're able to make a buck on them, right? That's how the game is played, all right? But that's not the online game. No, instead, the online game is played at a much different level. Because in reality, you're paying the salaries of these people at Luxottica. Every time a frame rep walks in the door, do you realize you're paying their salary? All right, what about the lab rep? What about the little guy that shows up in his car with his little frame, little bucket to pick up your orders, to drop off? Who's paying for that guy? You are. You're paying for all of this. And you're also paying for the insurance companies that are out there. You ought to see some of the offices, such as VSP out in California. You're paying their salaries. So what I'm asking you to consider today is to stop paying it. Stop paying the salaries of these people. Not only are you paying the salaries of these frame reps walking in, but like Luxottica, they own eyeglasses.com, Essilor, framesdirect.com. These labs and these suppliers are beating you at both games. They're beating you at the insurance game, and then they're stealing your single vision customers. Well, if it was me, I'd say, I've had enough. So how do you beat their online game? Well, I'm going to show you how here, and that's why I ask you for 10 minutes. 10 minutes of your day to learn how to beat the online game. Because here's the online game. Your customer comes into you, and they walk out the door, and they've got your RX, all right? Well, then they come in here, and they've got to go online at one of these customers, one of these online sites. And they've got to enter the Saphir and the Cylinder and the Axis, okay? That's your job. You should be doing that. What if they inverse this? Would they ever know? I don't know. How are they going to know? And then up here, lens material. Well, you guys are the experts about lens material. If they want to add a color tint, if they want to use a transition 7, if they want AR coat. What are the real benefits of AR coat? Do you see any of that explained to the customer here? No, you don't see it explained. Why? Because this in reality is your job. But what are we doing? we're letting the customer control this, where in reality, you should be in charge. Well, how do you change the game? Well, I'm going to tell you right here. You've got to know the big five. And you say, what are the big five? The big five are the things that every person in your office should know. When a customer comes in, asks for their RX, and you, by law, have to give them to it, but you also should give them this little bit of advice. Because it's not their job to do all this, but we've allowed them to do it. So I'm going to explain to here how you flip the script. It's called the Big Five. The first one is your patient's true ability to try on glasses. You'll see, as I mentioned, some of those have a virtual try-on. Well, that can't tell you how the frame really fits on your nose. It doesn't tell you about the temple length. It doesn't tell you about anything. Those things are just gimmicks, all right? With our model, you have the frames on the board, and you're going to be able to offer them to your patients for a real try-on, not a virtual try-on. Plus, one of these companies boxes up 5 frames, sends them to you, expects you to try them on, pick the ones you want, maybe even pick your own seg height, and then send it back, keeping the one you want. Really? That's what eyeglasses is all about right now? I don't think so. The second thing is, you enter these numbers. You're the expert. You should be entering these numbers, because when you enter the numbers, then you're responsible for the RX. And if there's a mistake made, the patient's got a little bit of insurance that it's going to be the right glasses. The next thing of the Big Five is you, the ECP. When those glasses come back from Vision Wholesale Club, you're checking the RX. You're checking to make sure that this RX is the same as the numbers you put in here. And if not, it's going to get redone, right? Well, how in the world can anybody buying online check to see if those glasses that really came in are their correct RX? Well, you already know the answer to that. They can't. They can't. So when they get the glasses, do they really know that's a prescription? No, they cannot know. All right, what about warranty? With Vision Wholesale Club, our warranty is the same as your existing suppliers. So if there's a scratch on the left lens and the patient is a minus 350 and this is their only pair of glasses, how are they going to do that online? How are they going to send that back and get it, their warranty established? Well, with us, we'll just redo the OS lens. Yeah, we'll send them a new left lens. When it arrives, you call them, they come in. Can the online game do this? No, the online game can't do that. So what about warranty? Do you really know? And lastly, what about doctor's changes? With Vision Wholesale Club, if we've got a patient and they're having an issue, maybe the seg height was set too high, it could be there's a minor modification in the sill and the sphere. Well, we'll redo that for you. What about these online game players? Can they do that? What happens when the patient gets their glasses and they're not quite right? Who do they go to? Well, oddly enough, a lot of times they come to your office because it's not right, and they've got to start the whole process all over again. So these are the 5 things that you're able to offer your patients to help get you guys in the game and beat the online game. But there's one more thing you're going to need, okay? You need a model that gives you big glasses, as I show out here, but not the big dollars. You need a cool frame assortment that looks like Warby Parker. It needs to be priced competitively. And that means you stop paying the commissions of these frame reps. You stop paying the commissions of the lab reps and start paying yourself. The traditional frame model to lens model to lab model just doesn't work anymore, not for single vision. And if you're going to sit around and wait for your patients to one by one walk out the door with their RXs, you're bleeding RX dollars, and it's hurting your practice. So we're here to put you in the game. Price competitive with margin. With Vision Wholesale Club, as you can see here, you get a complete selection of single vision and poly and transition 7 and 167. You get the same selection of lenses with transition 7, polarized, clear, all with premium AR, frame and lens, CR39, $49.99. Single vision poly, frame and lens with premium AR, $59.95. Wait, it gets better. PAL, CR39, $89.99, $90 frame and lens complete. And these are nice frames. This isn't Medicaid. This is Warby Parker. This is how you beat these guys. These are frames with spring hinges, with triacetate, the very current styles. This is how you beat them. You need a model that allows you to mark up from here. You need Vision Wholesale Club. Price competitive with margin. What about sunglasses? We saw that Warby Parker was selling their frame and lenses, polarized, single vision, for $150. All right? What is our pricing? We're coming in, nice frame, triacetate, handmade acetate, premium, digital, single vision, polar lens, $99 frame and lens complete. Well, now you can start competing against these guys. Now you can offer everybody that comes into your office, this should be your opening price point on sunglasses. $174.95. You make $75 as a cash sale for doing nothing, for coming on here, clicking on the button, and entering their prescription. That's it. Digital, polar, PAL, $104.99. Who can do that pricing? Not your labs. Nobody can do this pricing because no one's thought to try to take the transaction cost to build an online model that's business to business that helps you guys compete for more cash sales. That's what Vision Wholesale Club is. That's the magic of it. So you need to start competing today. And the first step, log on to visionwholesaleclub.com. Welcome. You're going to see an opening a picture like this. You apply for membership, very easy. There's no cost to membership. There's even a video here that explains the membership procedure. And guess what? You order your starter packs, your men's kit, your son kit, your ladies kit, you put the frames on the board. And the best part about this is every one of these frames that you just ordered, oh, you can use them for VSP. They're marked up in the frames book for VSP. But they also have a secret behind them. And the secret is you can order any of these men's frames, any of these ladies' frames, direct from us, single vision with premium AR for $49.95. Progressive lenses, $89.95. Who can do that? Vision Wholesale Club, the digital experts. So what I'm saying today is this should serve as a wake-up call to stop bleeding RX requests, that your wholesale costs are up here. You're at $49 and you're at $89. Here's our suggested retails. Here's the other guy's pricing. Your margin's $75 on a single vision frame. Well, that's more money than you're making sitting there spinning the wheels. And here you're able to use a premium digital lens at $89.99. There should be nobody walking out your door. And here, you even see here, the other guy's pricing, they're about $100 more. You've got a great chance here to set your price on this and really offer your customer a value frame and lens for your cash pay customers, the customers that don't have vision insurance. And then here's where you are with sunglasses. Vision Wholesale Club, the digital experts. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to having you as a member.